Hey everyone, welcome to Chapter 4 and congratulations on having gotten this far in our blockchain education course. This chapter is going to focus on different kinds of consensus protocols. First, we're going to talk about Byzantine problems, Pbft, and its derivatives. I'm Michael Gord. I'm the operations director of Ben and the founder of MLG, a blockchain development and consulting firm based in Toronto. You can find more about me at mlgblockchain.com. So in this module, we're going to first learn about Byzantine generals problems and what that is. Then we're going to talk about what Pbft is, which is practical Byzantine fault tolerance. Then we're going to talk about the Ripple and Stellar consensus algorithms and the limits to Pbft. So before we go into all this, let's first talk about what distributed consensus is exactly. So as network computing became more and more important in the 1980s, being able to reach verifiable consensus in a distributed network became more and more important. And that's the topic of this chapter. So Byzantine generals problems are problems that happen in reaching verifiable consensus in a distributed network. So the Byzantine generals problem is that in a distributed network, it needs to achieve verifiable and accurate consensus even if some of the nodes are faulty. Another Byzantine generals problem is called a Sybil attack, which is when a network is filled with forged identities. And Byzantine fault tolerance is when a system is able to tolerate the Byzantine generals problem and the Sybil attack. So Pbft is practical Byzantine fault tolerance. It was a breakthrough in distributed computing that came out in 1999. Basically, it's a replication algorithm that's able to tolerate Byzantine faults and achieve verifiable consensus in a distributed computing network. It's used in many distributed networks, such as Ripple, Stellar, and Hyperledger. So at its basic, this is how it looks, and it is a multi-stage verification process where at the beginning, the verification is done by a select number of nodes, and as it progresses through the verification process, it needs more and more confirmation. So Ripple and Stellar are two well-known derivatives of Pbft, or distributed networks that use a derivative of Pbft for their consensus algorithms. So Ripple was started as an alternative to Bitcoin in 2013 and is supported by Ripple Labs. And Stellar was started as a fork of Ripple in 2014 and is supported by the Stellar Development Foundation. So both of these are distributed ledgers. They aren't blockchains because there's no mining. They are networks that are able to achieve verifiable consensus in a distributed network. So we're going to watch a quick video about Ripple, which is the more popular of the two.
Ripple, the global real-time settlement network. Consumers and businesses have new and increasing demands for cross-border payments. Ripple connects banks around the world and allows them to offer real-time cross-border payment services to their customers. Currently, cross-border transactions require many intermediaries to execute, so settlement takes multiple days. This often creates costs and risks that make it difficult to meet today's market demands. Ripple enables cross-border payments to execute directly between banks within seconds, and provides the banks end-to-end visibility throughout the whole process. Ripple is infrastructure technology banks can adopt to power new payment services like low-value retail and corporate payments. Let's see.
So the video mentioned that the banks as the primary use case, and that is the case because Ripple has a closed membership where all parties trust one another and invite new nodes into the network. The reason for this is that consensus is agreed upon only by the parties in the transaction. So, and then it's broadcasted to the other nodes and verified on a global basis. But all parties need to trust one another because the first part of the verification process is done only by the parties in the transaction. And Ripple has a 10-second confirmation time. Stellar, on the other hand, has open membership, and any node is welcome to join the network. Consensus is achieved in small quorum slices and broadcasted to the network. So what that means is that there's small groups of 5 to 20 nodes that trust each other, and the first step of the verification process is verifying consensus between your small quorum slice, and then after that, it's verified by the rest of the network. And with Stellar, there is a 5-second verification time. Now we're going to talk about limits to Pbft. So the pros is that privacy is possible, such as with Ripple, and there's low latency transactions. So transactions process and are verified in 5 to 10 seconds. And some of the cons are that it's less secure because there's no mining equipment that's backing the network, and it leads to more centralization because verification, similar to security, verification is done by a small amount of people instead of the entire mining network. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out in the Blockchain Education Network Slack. And these are some of the references that I used.